This is Santa Monica. See the beach down there?
Mm-hmm.
Santa Monica. What is this thing up here? You know what this is? Is that the wing of the airplane? No, the wing is over here somewhere, off to the side. So that's the visor. You know, like in a car, you've got a visor. So that's the visor. I turn on the controller back here. There's a switch. And, does a message appear on the front of the controller? Waiting for Windows, it says. This blue box is the controller. Controller. Okay, so now I have to fire up the programs. Okay, so MTestW. MTestW, so this is the software that we use. Do you hear that ringing sound? What does the ringing sound mean? We're ready to go, that's what it means. Okay, watch this. You see where it says live right there? Is that live or live?
Live.
Are those two words spelled the same? Live or live? They're spelled the same, isn't that weird? I think it's live, so it's pronounced live. So watch what happens when I push on the loading deck. Are the numbers increasing? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this is how it's measuring the load. So the crosshead's moving down and it measures the load through here. So when I push on this, see 75 pounds, 70 pounds about? Okay, so measuring the load right there. Okay, so I'm going to open up the file for the specific test that we do. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to load the specimen right here on the loading deck. We're going to lower it right here on the loading deck. Is there enough space here? That's an 8-foot frame, so do you think it's 8 feet from the loading deck to the plate that you see there on the crosshead? Is that 8 feet? Maybe. Now, how do I move the crosshead up and down? On the front of the controller, there's a knob, up, down. So if I rotate it to the left, that would be the counterclockwise direction. Then the crosshead moves up. If I rotate it in the clockwise direction, that's to the right, then it moves down. So watch this. Was that up or down?
Down.
It was down. Okay, I'm going to move it down a little bit more. So if you're up close, you can see these giant screws turn. So that's what controls the crosshead. Okay, now if I'm going to move the crosshead up, I want to make sure that I don't ram the crosshead into the top of the frame. So that's one of the hazards of this machine. If I move the knob to the up position, if I move it too far up, then the crosshead might ram into the top of the frame. So if you're standing upstairs, how much space do I have between the crosshead and the top of the frame? How many inches is there? Can I move it up a little bit more? How many inches do I have? 2 inches? I'm scared to move it up any farther. I don't want to ram the crosshead into the top of the frame. I have to be very careful not to do that. Okay, so am I forgetting anything? No, I don't think so. So in just a moment, they're going to pass the frame over, and we're going to put it right here on the loading deck, and we're going to stagger it. So one corner here, and then the other corner back here. Okay, and then we'll clamp it down with these. Don't hit the light up there. Good grief. Okay, now. Okay. So, sir, can you come here? Sir, can you go around the back? And watch your step. I'm going to move the crosshead up just a little bit. Okay. Stop me if I raise it too much. How much more space do I have? A little bit more. I think it'll fit. Or won't it? Okay. A little bit more. Okay, now it's fit. Okay, so we're going to stagger this. I'm going to give you the clamp. Okay, so back there, the edge. I'm going to move it to the edge. You know how to work this thing? Okay, now, before you clamp it down, I want to make sure that it's centered there. So does it look as though it's centered on the plate? Okay, so clamp it down. Okay, so now I'm going to remember that it's measuring the load down here. So what it's measuring now is the weight of the frame. It must be about 36 pounds or so. So now I'm going to clamp it on the top. How do I clamp it? I bring the crosshead down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down a little bit so that it's steady. Does that look as though it's centered on the bullseye? You see there's concentric circles there. So I'm going to bring this down to clamp it. That's clamped, isn't it? I mean, it feels nice and firm. Yeah, so I've got about a 90-pound preload. Okay, so now the specimen is in place. Okay, you filming up there? Okay. Can you see anything over there? Okay, so it looks as though everything is in order. A 90-pound preload, and maybe that's a little bit excessive. I'm going to back off a little bit. A 90 might be a little bit too much. And everyone got goggles? Okay, so I have to put on my own goggles. Now I'm going to raise it just a little bit. I don't want too much of a preload on it. Okay, that's a good preload. A little bit under 50 is usually a good preload. Okay, so I'm going to tare it. You know what that means, tare? Zero it out. So I tare it by clicking on, you can't see it, but you know, I'd like to move it a little closer so you can see the icon. Okay, so you see this right here? That is the tare icon. See, it says 0 all. And then once I click that, then I have to, okay, look down here. I'm going to move this to load, and then I'm going to click on the play button. Okay, so now you've got it on film, so you can back. Okay, can I start this now? You all okay over there? Okay, so I'm going to move this to load. And then I have to hold on to it, otherwise it vibrates. So I'm going to 0 it out and press play. It's tracing out the load versus position. Right here on the screen. You getting this on film? All right. So we're up to 250 pounds. And if I don't hold this, it tends to vibrate. I think that's a defect of the machine. It's a very old machine. Already? I'm glad I didn't use this as a top. I see some knots in there. I don't like knots. 800. Made it to 900. I don't think it'll go any further than that. All right, so I'm going to stop it. Okay, so I'm going to click on this icon, F9. That stops the test. So F9 stops the test. Okay, and then I can minimize this. So how high did it go? So if you take a picture of the screen here, you see it tells me that it peaked at 909 pounds. The one on Tuesday went up to 1,300, didn't it? Very unpredictable. Okay, so I will post this in Canvas so that you can admire it. Okay, so what do we do next? How do we unload the specimen? There's an icon on here that has a little picture of a house, so you can get this on film here. You see the home icon? So if I click on the home icon, you know what that does? It makes the crosshead go home. The crosshead goes back to where it started. If I click on the home icon, so the crosshead is going to go back to where it started. Pardon me, Uncle Walter. Don't go anywhere yet. Everyone okay up here? You're still filming, right? You're still filming? You stopped filming? So you can test some really big specimens in here, can't you? Because it's so big an area between the crosshead and the loading deck. Could we have tested concrete in here? Could we have tested the concrete cylinder? Could we have? Yeah, but I would have had to have brought the crosshead all the way down here, but it could have been done. We could have tested concrete in here. But I would have to bring the crosshead all the way down here because those concrete cylinders are only 12 inches tall, right? So I would have brought the crosshead down by turning the knob here on the controller. But it's very slow, so I would have had to have waited quite a while. Okay, is it up high enough to remove this? So, sure, and you gentlemen go around the back and undo this. They're going to pass it back up. So if you pass it over, get ready to accept it back. And I'll take, yeah, you can lay the clamps down. Is it high up enough to get it out? Yeah. Oh, it must have reached its home position.